there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today we are getting into the indie brand Devinah. This is kind of blinding. I picked up some new multi-chrome eyeshadows from their recent release and I'm really excited to try them out on my eyes. I picked 4 colors, all multi-chromes. And I'm going to do some swatches. We're going to compare to other multi-chromes I have in my collection. And I'm going to apply these to my eyes. If you don't know about Devinah, they are an indie brand based out of Oregon. This is what the multi-chrome singles come in, these little sleeves. So I have all 4 right here. Everything arrived great. They actually came faster than I expected for being an indie brand. I ordered them and I got them within the same month, so that is a really good timeline. I did get 20% off. I used a YouTube code. So I got 4 eyeshadows and this little palette for $60, around there. You may think that's a lot of money for 4 shades and a palette, but indie brand multi-chromes are not cheap. Each individual shade is expensive, but this brand compared to others is pretty reasonable, and they also seem to be offering a lot of discount codes. And the recent sale actually, the discount codes applied to multi-chrome, so that was really cool. That doesn't always happen. So I was glad to get some money off and really try out this brand for the first time. A couple people commented on my other multi-chrome videos that I need to try this brand. I was a little hesitant too because I have a lot of multi-chrome shades, and I actually have an order coming from Clionadh hopefully soon that I ordered in December, and I got a whole bunch of shadows from them, so I really don't need any more multi-chrome, so that's why I really just stuck to 4 and the color family that I really was attracted to, which is greens. And I did kind of get a pink magenta color as well. But I'm glad to have experienced this formula, just kind of finger swatching. You know, it's been a lot of fun so far to play with Devinah. I was impressed with the amount of shadows that they have on their website and different formulas and textures. I think that's pretty awesome that they have so much to choose from. So I am curious about their other formulas, but I did only pick up multi-chromes for you guys. So, and I believe I picked up their new shades that they came out with the latest launch. So I have, so Australis is this one, Australis. This is not new, but I like the color. And I believe this is, so this down here is Chromosphere, Hemisphere, and Phenomenon. I believe at least 2 of these are new in their collection. And they're all kind of on the greenish side, but as you can see, a little bit different. So I'm going to swatch them one at a time and do the comparisons right next to them. So we're going to take a little journey. Just so you guys know, as before I get into the details of each color, when I hand swatch these on my own, I felt like these are really smooth. Like they feel really smooth and really lightweight. And with other brands of multi-chromes, they kind of feel thicker and kind of a weird texture, but this one just felt like a really smooth, pretty normal eyeshadow, which I like. And what's neat about Devinah is they are handmade and hand pressed. They're not pressed by a machine. They're also hand blended in Salem, Oregon. Cruelty-free, handmade. So you can see what's kind of unique about Devinah. They have lines going through each shadow, and I believe that's from how they hand press it. There's little lines in the presser. So that definitely makes them different. What I kind of noticed from looking at these just straight on as they are in the pan, they don't, at least the colors I have, like this one in the light front facing, it looks pretty like vivid, But these colors, when you just kind of look at them with your eyes, you know, not in a camera or different fun angles, they don't look very vibrant in the pan. Like, they don't look super impressive, but they do look very impressive swatched, and on your finger you can see the amount of shine. So that kind of surprised me, that they look a certain way in the pan but different on your fingers. Whereas other indie brands, they actually look pretty vibrant in the pan. So it's just kind of a different thing going on there, right? Let's get into Australis first. As I said, super, super smooth. And I'm gonna make sure that the Devinah color is closest to my wrist, and all the comparisons will be to this side. So this is Australis, and I don't think this color is particularly unique to this brand. It does shift kind of green. So it's like a magenta pink to green. So you can see that shift there, and excuse anything you see that is unflattering in the background. But that is the shift for Australis, kind of a green sort of bronzy tone. Very, very pretty. And then let's get into the comparisons. So I did my research and went through my whole collection and looked for colors that look similar, and then kind of rank them from most close to least close. And for Australis, my #1 dupe is from Chaos Makeup, and it's gonna be Just a Girl. And that is this shade right here. That's our closest dupe, so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that one for you and put it right next to Australis. And you can see they're very close in tone and amount of shine. So when I realized this, even the shift is pretty much exactly the same. So when I saw this, I was like, oh boy, I just bought another shade of exactly the same color, so I didn't need to get Australis. But you can't tell, you know, from looking at pictures online, or, you know, that they're gonna be exactly the same as what I already had. I will tell you there's a price difference, so if you were to pick one, I would go with Devinah because it's better customer service and better price. So those are really, really close. And then the next option I have that's pretty close as well is from Clionadh, and this is Smolder. Also a good option for Australis. The only thing with Clionadh is this is a bit more shiny and metallic looking. And not that these are dull, but compared to Clionadh, they're a little duller, and I think you can see that. And the shift also like really close in all three. You can see these are all very similar, right? And then I have, and this is probably the shade I have the most dupes for, and if you look at many different indie multi-chrome brands, you're probably gonna see this shade in probably in every collection, I would guess. It's very popular. So the next one I have is from Sydney Grace, and this is Twisted Shifter. Right here, Twisted Shifter right there. And you can see the tone of this is not really that close. It's a little more purple and less like fuchsia magenta. But it was kind of close. I wanted to at least show you, for those of you that have the shade, what it looks like. And it's just a little more purple, but the shift, you know, is comparable, I think. Just a different base tone. Last but not least, for those of you that like Pat McGrath and have her Divine Rose 2 palette, she does have a multi-chrome shade in there, Sextraterrestrial. And this one right here is kind of that fuchsia to green as well. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch this one too, and I say this one is the least close to Australis, but it's not like crazy far off. It's just kind of a more relaxed tone, or just not as vibrant, a little more subdued than the rest of these. But let's look at the shift. You know, we still have that green shift, just not as vibrant on the bottom there with Pat. But as you can see, very, very similar comparing to Australis. So I don't think, looking at these 5 shades here, I don't think I need any more of the shade at all. So kind of disappointed that I picked something so similar to what I already have, but I think that just goes to show all of you out there that you really need to look at your collection before you buy. And I know when you're in the heat of the moment, there's a sale, things sell out quickly, you just kind of buy stuff without really getting the chance to look at your collection and really think about what you're purchasing, and that certainly happened to me. Now when I looked at this online, I thought, oh, this looks pretty, this looks a little bit different than I have. Obviously not. So I just wanted to point that out, that, you know, sometimes we pick things that we already really have the same colors already. Okay, now on to Chromosphere. Chromosphere right here. Now this one in the pan looks very gold, like a burnt gold, like straight on, but then when you shift it, it looks green. So kind of an interesting shift happening with Chromosphere. It's very, oh, it looks a little funny in this light, but it's very like bronzy sort of gold. You're still, you guys can see that green though right away. Let's just do a little light shift here. So in the shift, it's very green. You can see that. But then straight on, it's like less green, more bronze gold. So kind of a cool different shade, right? But when I looked at my dupes, Chaos Cosmetics, Junebug is really close. This one right here. So this is Junebug. Sorry, Chaos Makeup. If I ever say Chaos Cosmetics, I mean Chaos Makeup. So this is Junebug, and this is Chromosphere. You can see they almost look exactly the same. Crazy! Let's look at the shift. Even the shift is pretty much the same as well. And then looking at it in person, I think they have like the same amount of shine. Like these are really, really close dupes. So if you have Chaos Makeup, know that you don't need to get Chromosphere. Or if you're considering between the two brands, I believe Devinah is cheaper. They have discount codes. I would go with Devinah. So Devinah, Chaos Makeup. And then I do want to show you another dupe that's not quite as close, but probably many of you have this shade or have heard of it. And this is the Natasha Denona Trichrome palette and the shade, Multichrome shade Scarab. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. I don't have the liquid version of this, just the powder. But even so, I thought the powder was pretty close. You can see there is some slight variation, maybe not as rich. And then I'll show you the shift. Natasha Denona doesn't look quite as vibrant on the shift, but still like really close color family. You guys can see that green. And I just want to move things around just a little bit. You can see these are all very, very similar. I'd say Natasha Denona looks slightly different, but most people won't be able to tell. So something to think about when picking out shades, and that is the Chromosphere dupes. Alright, let's get into Hemisphere, this middle shade here. That's kind of a different sort of shade because it looks a little bit more, I don't want to say neutral, but just not as vibrant looking in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and swatch, but this definitely looks like a really true green in the shift. So this is Hemisphere. And you can see there's some like silvery grayish pewter tones happening, and then in the shift you can see that real vibrant green. So it's a really cool color, kind of different. I think if you're scared to go into multichromes but you like green, this is kind of also shifts to a it's more of a steel gray kind of color when you first like look at it straight on. So it's kind of neat, right? I do have 3 sort of close shades to this though, so it's not like super unique. So the closest shade I have to this one is from Chaos Makeup, and it is Nirvana right here. And you can see it has that same sort of pewter gray tone. Very, very close. Not tell a difference at all. And then when you look at the shift is also like that kind of a blue, vibrant green. Really pretty. So it's kind of blue to deep green. So the shift is also the same. So that's why I say this is the closest one to Hemisphere. And then my second closest would be Sydney Grace Chamillionaire. This one right here. I don't know the deal with Sydney Grace, if they're still selling these or making new ones. I have no idea. Now this one isn't quite as close. It doesn't have that like silvery gray pewter tone, but it is kind of a different green. And then the shift on this one, we also get a green to bluish shift, right? Same sort of color family. And then my last pick for a dupe for the shade would also be Chaos Makeup and Seaside. But this is definitely more metallic, and you'll see it is pretty different, but in that green family, right? This is very shiny, very metallic. This one is not, but you can see sort of same green tones here. And then the shift is a lot more vibrant on the Seaside shade than the top one, which is Hemisphere, which I keep forgetting the name of. But those are all my dupes for Hemisphere. You can see like a cool shade, but there are other shades like it out there. So if you are thinking about like different options, I would, out of all of these, I mean, I would go for the cheapest one or the color that you like the best. If you like these two the best, I would go with Devinah hands down. Sydney Grace, I'm not sure if they're still selling Chamillionaire, but it is nice. It's a little more metallic feeling when you swatch it. And then Seaside is just more bright and chromy. So that is that. Okay, and the last shade I have to swatch for you is Phenomenon, this last one right here, and it's kind of like a very like burnt yellow antique gold shade. Very cool looking, like almost like I'm the gold man, like the Tin Man, or like those people that paint their bodies in like a metal. Well, if I wanted like an antique gold, this is what I would use. It's very pretty, and the shift on it looks like this. Kind of a green, so they're all kind of green tones, right? But this one has like that strong antique gold, old gold vibe. Yeah, kind of a different shade. The shift is a little bit weird. I can see the green right here, but it's not like a strong green, and I think that's why in the mirror it doesn't show up that well. Anyways, I don't have a good dupe for this, a really close dupe in my collection, which I'm actually like really happy about, because I don't want to have good dupes. I want to buy like new shades. I don't know if you guys feel that way. I don't like wasting my money and buying similar shades, but I do want to show you some close ones that have that similar bronze gold look, but the shift, I couldn't find one that had the same shift. So I'm gonna go show you Natasha Denona Scarab again next to it. And you can definitely tell straight on Scarab does have more green, but you can kind of see that gold in there. And then Chaos Makeup Junebug also has a front color that's pretty similar, but I'll show you on both of these. The shift is a little more green and bolder on the Natasha Denona on Chaos, whereas the Devinah, the green isn't quite as bold. But the front color is definitely more gold than these two. So yeah, and then I want to do one last one from Pat McGrath, and this is not a multichrome, but I thought the old gold look of the Mothership 3, and this is Gigabite, I thought this color might match that old gold color. This obviously doesn't have like a green shift or anything to it, but I thought the gold might be the same. Yeah, I thought this, I swatched a lot of golds from Pat, and I think this one was the closest. So if you just wanted a different sort of gold, I thought these were kind of cool. So this is the Phenomenon close shades. As you can see, no real perfect matches. I do want to apply these on my eyes to see what they're like. So I do have a primer on my eyes, the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly, just a light layer. I kind of want to use all the green shades. I probably won't get to using Australis today, just because it's not really going to go with these other colors. But we'll see. I just want to kind of start out with one color and see where it goes. And I think it's going to be Chromosphere. So I'm going to start with a brush and see what happens. I might end up using my fingers. If you guys are familiar with multichromes, they are different to apply. Depending on the shadow, it might have a black base under it, and if you blend things out too much, it kind of wipes away the multichrome and you'll see that black base. I have a feeling this shadow isn't going to do that, but we're going to see. Let's go ahead and put it on. Now there are some multichromes that you put on with a brush and they're just not very vibrant at all, but I can already tell this one looks very vibrant with a brush, so that makes me happy. I don't love using my fingers just because the precision isn't there, but I will do it if I need to get a stronger payoff. But wow, this already looks great. How fun. Okay, so that's kind of our medium toned shade of the three green ones, and I am just patting it on. And probably because I'm patting it on, I'm getting a little bit of fallout. We can do swipes, but generally don't get a bold color if I do swiping with multichrome, so I'm just patting to retain as much of the color as I can. Because the more you move these around, the less shift works. The shift works as well, doesn't work as well if you kind of blend out a lot. These are really bold. As you can see, I messed up a little bit over there, but we're not done. You can see my fallout, a little dusty under here, but honestly, like, it's to be expected. You don't necessarily want to use the thinnest amounts of powder. You kind of want things to be a little bit concentrated, so don't be afraid of fallout if you want to do your base makeup last. I think that makes sense. I did not. I'll just kind of sweep things away. Now I do want to try our deepest green shade, which is Hemisphere, on the outer corner, just to see how that works. And for reference, I used Rougher number 2 for Chromosphere, and then I'm going to use the Sonia G Builder Pro for Hemisphere, which is the darker shade. And I'm just tapping that one on, so you can see that different color on the edge there. Alright, we're looking messy, right? But I'm just kind of getting the color down. We can blend out the edges later, but that is those two colors there. And I want to do Phenomenon on the inner part, which is our more gold lighter shade, and I'm going to attempt to use a little fluffy brush, number 20 Wayne Goss, and see how that goes. Now it's not actually super light, but it is our lightest shade. This is going to be kind of a funky watercolor look, right? You can see all the different greens going on there. And then underneath my eyes, I'm going to use the same Phenomenon shade. And I'm going to be using the rougher number 3. Alright, pretty messy. Ooh, that is a lot of color. I feel like this is a very jungle mermaid vibe, or like a money vibe. Okay. This is quite fun. I'm gonna do some cleanup with a bigger eyeshadow brush. And we're gonna hope for the best. So when you normally like try to blend out these shadows, they get a little bit smoky, a little bit gray cast. So in that sense, they're kind of a challenge to work with because they're so pigmented and bold, and once you put them down, it can be hard to clean up and hard to sort of create your shape and blend out mistakes. And I'm certainly getting that smoky effect as I'm blending out these shades, especially the dark Hemisphere shade on the edge. I think it probably makes it a little bit better though that we do get some smoke on the edge of these and it's not like a stark contrast. Just know that there is some, you know, gray and dark black tones behind these that you will notice when you smoke these out. Still very pretty, right? So I think I'm gonna try to find a matte shade that's gonna go help kind of cover up some of that smoke. And I'm going to use Vertex from Natasha Denona Triochrome palette just to see what this does. I don't think I'm going to be able to successfully cover up this set of smokiness without looking very powdery. There's only so many layers of eyeshadow that you can handle, that I can handle. Alright, I don't think this looks terrible, but it doesn't look great. And I think it's honestly my fault. I think I probably should have not tried to use all three on my eyes. I only have so much space. And I'm not that good of an artist to figure this out. But I'm pretty happy with the result, even though it's a lot more smoky than I want it to be. Maybe I should just use my fingers, clean this up a little bit. I think I might go in with a little bit of concealer to try to clean this up a little bit better, try to salvage it. Yeah, so I'll be back. Okay, I don't think this looks great, but I think it looks a little bit better. I did use some concealer and powder and kind of swept away the fallout under my eyes, but I think it looks slightly green tinged. Not the most flattering. I think you really have to be careful about the brushes you use to apply. I think the brushes I used were a little bit too big for the small of area, and the blender was too big. So I really got a lot of smoke, and once you get that dark smoke, it's hard to take it away. And when I tried to take it away, it didn't work so much. But I don't think that these shadows are bad. They're just very, pigmented. When you start smoking them out, they can appear a lot darker than you think. And if that's not what you're going for, you might be in for a surprise. But I think the formula of these is really nice and really gorgeous. Obviously, like, the payoff is really good. They're really vibrant and really pretty. I mean, apart from like all of this around my eye, actually where the eyeshadow is, it looks nice, right? So just focus on that. I'm gonna put on some mascara and a little bit of eyeliner. So I'm gonna use my Chantecaille Black Forest, this dark green eyeliner, and then I'm gonna use the Pat McGrath Fetish Eyes, and I will be back. I wanted to make a little note here. I tried to start using Black Forest. It's been a while. It's just been sitting in my drawer, and I noticed like the pencil was really low, and I was like, okay, I'll sharpen it. But it's like dried out or something. I don't know if you guys have experience with their Chantecaille eyeliners. This is my first eyeliner I've purchased from them, and it has been a while. It's not like a new eyeliner at all, but I didn't know this was gonna happen. I can't really put it on my eyes because it's dragging. Oh my goodness, that's a problem. This used to be like my favorite eyeliner. There is a crack in it. Maybe it dried out. I do have a purple one that is newer. If this one has an issue, this is Violet Damask. This one looks fine. Well, hopefully this isn't what happens when they get old. How stinky. Well, I guess I'm gonna use purple eyeliner. Not that I don't have any other green eyeliners. Oh, what a bummer. Well, that was a fun new discovery today. The video started off really well, and then it kind of didn't work out as much, but I think whatever. I'm fine with the look. It is what it is. My eyeliner fell apart, and I don't know how to do makeup. Okay, for me, a challenge for lips and picking out a color is like, what do you put with green? I think nude is pretty safe. You could do red if you want to do Christmas. Let's see what we have. I might just do something kind of shiny and like a nude lip liner. Let's do the Pillow Talk Lip Cheat from Charlotte Tilbury. the Fenty Fussy Gloss Bomb. Yeah, this guy. It smells so good. It's not like the thinnest formula, but it is pretty pleasant. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that low-key lip gloss. Actually, it's not low-key, it's pretty shiny, but it's really low maintenance. Okay, so this is the final look. This is the Devinah palette. We tried all of these 3 top shades, and it kind of turned out to be a disaster, but I think all of it was me. And that kind of can happen when you first try things out on your eyes. You have to get used to the formula and how it really works. And we found out that you have to be careful with blending these out for sure. Use smaller brushes and be really precise with placement, because if you make mistakes like I did, they can be a little bit hard to fix and just kind of brush away. That didn't really happen that easily for me, and I had to pile on the concealer and powder to kind of fix it. And even so, it's not completely fixed. You can see that gray cast happening around my eyes, but it's not a total disaster. I think you can see the pigment and how these applied. Everything applied really easily. It's just kind of finishing and completing the look and putting it all together was a challenge for me. Now, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the formula. I would probably stick to one multichrome shade just to make things easier on myself and kind of darken up the crease with a normal matte eyeshadow, not a multichrome, and that probably would have worked out a lot better. Those are just my tips, especially if you are a newbie to multichromes or you're just kind of a casual makeup applier like I am. You don't do makeup artistry, so you don't know how to work with these shadows all over your eyes in different locations. But I think these colors turned out really well together, and I think they all complement each other. I think I would have probably preferred a really light gold in the corner rather than this antique burnt gold, but it's different. It's yellow, it's gold, it's pewter green, it's all of those things. Let me know your thoughts on Devinah. What do you think about their formula if you have tried them? What is your favorite multichrome shade in their collection that I don't have? And any other thoughts are welcome below. If you like the video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.